Welcome everyone that clicked in this video. You can call me May, and today is another installment of my series called Me OCs. It's a series where I make self-insert OCs for fandoms and for media I like. This is just for fun. I do not plan on fully doing anything with these characters. I just thought it'd be fun to make a character based on a series I really like. I do have two others, videos that are going to be in the playlist with this. So you can go look for on my channel if you want to see them. They are My Little Pony and Sonic the Hedgehog. I decided for my next one to go with a series I've seen a lot of people make self-insert OCs of, and what really made me want to do this series as a series in general, which is My Hero Academia, or most is commonly called My Hero. Or if you want to do the preface of it, or the shortest version of it, MHA. I'm probably going to call it from My Hero from now on in this video. So for those who don't know, My Hero is a anime series that is based on superheroes and stuff. You follow the main character called Izuku Midoriya, or most commonly called Deku, going to a school for kids that want to become superheroes called UA. The really fun part about making characters based on My Hero is the quirk system, which is their power system. Their superpowers and stuff are called quirks, and it can literally be pretty much anything you can think of. Like, there is one guy that just literally has a tail. There's a girl whose whole quirk is being frog-like, but not fully a frog. Sometimes these quirks can change their appearance, like Spinner, who is a lizard. Or sometimes even, you can have parts of their body look different, even though it doesn't have anything pretty much to do with their quirk. Like Tokiyami, who has the quirk called Dark Shadow, which means he has a shadow-like creature that he can control, but his head is a bird head. But the only thing that has to do with Dark Shadow is the fact that it looks kind of like Dark Shadow. Otherwise, it has nothing, I believe, to do with Dark Shadow, other than cool design features. So you can literally make your character look like anything and have any ability. So that's why I think a lot of people like doing it, because it's just fun to play with. And before we get to my self-insert OC itself, I want to quickly address the issues people have with self-insert OCs. The main ones are Mary Sue. When they do nothing wrong, they're perfect and everyone loves them. And self-shipping with characters that already exist in the series, which I understand why. My character is not shipped with anyone in the series. I personally did not make her for that reason. I just made her for fun and because I wanted to. I hope she doesn't come off Mary Sue-like. But we are gonna get into the OC itself right now and stop blabbling about My Hero. But My Hero, I will mention characters and stuff from it throughout this thing. I will say this video ideas was highly inspired by Inkyo, inspired by their videos about self-insert OCs, and especially their My Hero one. And they have their friend that did one with them. So I'm gonna start with, I made one of those like board things that you'll see throughout this video when I'm talking about the designs later. The like My Hero like character display boards. I will probably show a picture of the one I made here. It is heavily inspired by ones I saw when I just searched them up on the internet. And they say hero name, birthday, height, and quirk. And on the bottom of mine, I do write the name of my character, or her hero name, depending on what outfit she's wearing. But I am gonna just get into it. I'm gonna first start with the name I gave this character. I decided to name her May Aya, or I guess technically, I believe in Japan they say the last name first and the first name last, so it'd be Aya May. But in My Hero, I think in the English dub at least, they do it the first name, last name. But I named her May Aya because May is the name I go by. But I spelled it M-E-I, so I decided to change it to spell it like that because I believe that's how they spell it in Japan most commonly. I do not want to sound, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think that's how they do it, and that's why I chose to spell it differently. Also to distinguish her name from what I go by. That is why I did May. And then the last name, Aya, I looked up names, I believe for color or something, related to color for this character, because we'll get to her quirk and why that makes sense a little bit. But when I looked up names, Aya popped up, and it means, apparently, if I'm correct, I think a Japanese name. But Japan is where My Hero takes place. I decided to go for a Japanese name. I hope that doesn't come across wrong. But apparently Aya means colorful or rainbow. So that's why I thought it fit her character, because you will see in a minute what her quirk is and why I thought that fit. Next on the list is her birthday. I decided to add that for fun because it was on most people's boards, and I'm like, I'm gonna add it too. 6/4, which is June 4th. June is because June is my birthday month. I have mentioned it on the channel before. And the 4 is because my favorite My Hero character's birthday is on the 4th. So I decided to tie a little nod to him. Do you know who it is? That means you've watched probably other videos, or you just happen to luckily guess or just somehow know me. For those who don't know what it is Sun Eater or Tamaki Yamajiki. Part of the big three, he is my favorite character in the show and one of my favorite anime characters in general. And then height, I just did 5'8". I believe it's the same height as Momo, if I remember correctly, and I thought it fit. And then, will not make sense till I explain her quirk, but her hero name at the current moment is Paintling. I can't decide if that is good or not. When I looked up Paintling, it didn't bring up anything except for some like enemies from a video game, and I don't even remember if they're actually called Paintlings or just called like paintings or something. But right now her hero name is Paintling, and if you had the subtext like how Sero has Cellophane the tape hero or something like that, hers would probably be either the paint hero or the colorful hero. One of the two. I haven't decided, and I don't know if I would even add that if I did do something like that. I am going to explain her personality and stuff more before I get to her design and her quirk, because those are the more fun parts of it. She's shy, quiet, but she is a kind-hearted character. She's low energy, usually tired, at least a little bit tired most of the time. She gets lost in thought easily, which makes it sometimes she just doesn't hear people around her. Like I said, some of it is based on me, some of it is just what I like in characters. So she does not communicate well with people as she could. I like shy characters a lot, and I consider myself a little shy at least. So I decided to write shyness into her character. I'm going to go to her strengths and weaknesses not related to her quirk. This is the most I've actually planned out for a video. I literally wrote everything I needed down for this one. Usually I just go off the top of my head, which I realize makes me ramble a lot. But I realized right now by writing stuff down, it makes it seem more structured, which makes it feel a little bit weirder to say, but also feel like it will make more sense for editing me later. That's why if I sound like I'm reading something, it's because I am. Okay, her strengths that are not related to her quirk, like not quirk related strengths, are speed, agility, flexibility, and stealth. So she's quick on her feet and like can sneak around easily, and is really like flexible and agility based fighting style. So she is a movement based fighting style. However, her weaknesses are strength, communication, easily scared of spiders, and motion sickness. Some of those make sense, some of those make more sense than others. Strength is she's like physically not that strong. She can work on this, but she still will be a pretty physically weak character compared to the rest of like characters in my hero. So that's why she's more focused on speed and movement than lifting heavy objects. Communication is, like I said earlier, she both gets lost in thought easily and doesn't talk much. So communicating with other teammates is harder. So if she doesn't have to talk, she doesn't talk, and she mostly likes to listen rather than talk. So sometimes it makes communication harder, especially when she gets lost in thought during a battle and is kind of like on autopilot, is the best way to explain it. This is hilarious because I've never explained, when I did my other two OC videos, I just explained the little bit I had for them, but this actually wrote stuff down and decided to make a character, which was both fun and also sounds very weird when I'm saying it out loud. Scared easily, it's because I get jump scared easily and scared easily in general. I decided to add that to her character. Same with the fact that I am terrified of spiders, so if she sees a spider, she freezes up. Which means if she fought a spider-based villain, she would probably freeze up and somebody else would have to take over. And then motion sickness is because if she spins around too many times or something, she can feel a little nauseous. Because, again, based on me, how a tiny bit of motion sickness here and there. Nothing too bad, but if you can see in the sketch, you can see in the speed paint, she has a tail. This tail is technically can be part of a quirk, but it's not necessary for a quirk. So it's more like Tokiyami's bird head. But it is also, I realized, since Ojiro, I think that's his name, has a tail. It's not like his tail at all, because I'd just be taking his quirk and adding on to it with a way more powerful quirk, I think. In her quirk section, I'll get to in a minute. The best way to describe it is like a monkey tail with how it moves. She can easily, with her tail, she can easily hold up like small objects, like a notebook or like a bottle of water or something. And she can hold herself up, but not for long because it is painful. It's like a very sore arm type of situation. Again, start lifting stuff with it and making it like stronger, like how you work out your arms and legs by lifting weights. So you wouldn't lift weights with your legs, you just push weights to the legs. I don't work out, so I wouldn't know. She can get her tail stronger if she works out. The farthest this point would go, though, is to be easily able to lift herself up. But she doesn't weigh that much because she's scrawny. Or at least hold on to something with her tail and use it to like swing around and stuff for more movement. That's the farthest I'd be able to go. So it's not even close to as strong as Ojiro's tail. Surprisingly, I'm bringing him up a lot. I mean, it's because he had a tail, and I'm like, oh, I can give my character a tail. And I thought it'd be fun. And I like the look of the paintbrush tail because I have characters that have it. Also, if you're wondering where she is in the story, she's in UA. You can see because one of the outfits I'm drawing for her is literally the UA uniform. I don't want to do the Class A1 because most people are like, everyone puts their characters in Class A1. I feel like, though, she would be probably like a third year and class 3B, which is a third year B class. I don't want this to sound like a pick-me, though. That sounds like I'm like, but I'm different, you know, from everyone else. No, actually, I want her to still be in UA. So she ain't in Class A1, but she is in UA, and probably I'm gonna go with a third year since, again, my favorite character is Sun Eater. So being the same age as him in the story, I think makes sense for me because he's my favorite. And no, I'm not stripping myself with him. She probably like looks up to the whole big three as senpais. That's the name. Even though if she's a third year, that means she would technically be the same age as them. I don't know. All I know is she goes to UA. Hadn't really thought too much about it, except for maybe being a third year in like the B class. I mean, she could be third year A class because the only characters we know from 3A is the big three. I'm now gonna get onto her quirk. It's called multi-paint because I didn't want to just call it paint, which means she can make paint that comes from her body. It mostly comes from her hands, but can also come from her mouth if she wants, which is kind of gross, but it makes sense to me. She usually uses her hands only. It comes in multiple colors. I haven't decided if it's 7 or 8 colors. When I get to the explaining the color stuff, it'll make sense why I can't decide. But each color has a different, they each have a different like ability, like as in consistency. And if she retouches the paint after she puts it down or throws it out, it'll become a tougher version of whatever it was, / like a harder version of whatever it was. I'll get to explaining what each color is separately in a moment. But if she retouches it or gets too far away, it will just turn back into the normal paint status it was before. And later, I haven't decided if it will naturally just, if she's far enough away and not thinking about it, if it'll naturally just disappear or if it has to be cleaned up, because I don't know if the side effect of the, like one of the big side effects of this quirk could just be it's a mess. I haven't decided that. You can tell me what you think. If she does get far enough away from it, it will for sure turn back into paint, like I said earlier. Unless she has it in the back of her mind, isn't focusing on it, then she can keep it in the tougher state. One of the main drawbacks of her quirk is she can only use one color at a time. And then I wrote here, and maybe until like a quirk awakening type moment where then she could use 2, but one only comes from left side of her body, one only comes from right, kind of like Todoroki, but different powers. However, one of the main drawbacks of her power is she does need water to use it. The water just comes from her body, like not like the natural water in your body. She can just use that to turn into paint, and she can regain the water from the air, kind of like Frozone does in The Incredibles, but not as easily as Frozone does from The Incredibles. If she uses way too much of her power, her appearance will change. She'll become, all of her color, like her skin, her hair and stuff, will all become duller in color. Her hair overall will become more droopy and like look like it's melting almost. And the paint that you'll see on her body does fade. And I did give her eye bags in this little sketch I did of that, because I feel like it makes sense. And then her skin will get all dry and maybe a little bit crackly, kind of like paint does when it's dry. So she can easily fix this by drinking a lot of water, or even I guess by falling into water. She could rehydrate herself in a sense. This effect or state also does make her feel like way weaker and lightheaded, and could maybe even make her feel slightly nauseous depending on how long she is in the state. The easiest way to get her out of the state is just to give her water and let her sit and recover for a moment. One of the other tiny kind of drawbacks, kind of not, from her quirk is the color on her skin. You see the white paint looking stuff will change color depending on what paint she is using, which is only seen as a drawback if the opponent she's fighting knows what each color does, and then they'll know what to expect, what's coming. That's why she covers most of her skin in her hero outfit to a little bit dull from that. She would make it less noticeable about what she is using. Now we are going to get on to the types of colors and what each paint color does, because like I said earlier, they all do a little something different. They are still all paint, nothing is different, they're all paint, but they do have a little bit of different textures to them, which we'll go in rainbow order because that is the color she has: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. plus white or pink, which I'll get to that in a moment, why there's both written there. But we'll start with red. Red, it comes out like a thickish lava consistency type of paint. Lava because it's like red is fire. The main unique part about the red paint is it is hotter than the normal paints. By hotter, I mean like put your hand in like faucet water that's hot, like uncomfortable, but doesn't actually burn you type of hot. Like it can't burn an opponent, but can make them feel uncomfortably hot. So it can't actually hurt an opponent with burns. It just feels really hot and warm. It is as hot as you could think of without actually getting hurt from it. That is the temperature that this paint is. Usually it's just warm. And if she retouches it, like if she touches it again to make it into the solid form, it turns into like a soft rocky like solid, kind of like magma rock, but softer, because we'll get to why in a second. Because then she can use it to trap opponents if she wants. She can cover them in the paint and then touch it again to trap them for at least a little bit. It is breakable though. All the paint is breakable. And she can also use it to heat up like cold people. So yeah, that's the red paint. The orange one comes out in like blobs of paint, and then if she retouches it, it turns into like rock. So the best way she usually uses this one is to throw a bunch in the air and then retouch them and fling them around to use them as like little like projectiles, is probably the main way she uses this one. She could also cover an opponent in it and trap them in rock. It is just rock, which most people in the My Hero universe could probably break, so it's not as strong. The yellow paint comes out in like spark-like splats. I guess the best way to put it, it looks like a spark, but it's just a splat of paint. And if she retouches it, I decided to make it come in like consistency of like glass, so it shatters more. Don't know what she'd use this for. The best way to probably use it is that it's very shiny paint, the yellow one, so it probably could reflect stuff and like stun opponents like eyesight. So basically not blind them, but like, you know, for a second stun them. In a sense, she doesn't probably use the yellow as often for the hardening effect. She can just use these as normal, like as paint for a second and then not touch it to make it hard. But I thought to add a fun difference to the paint type of quirk, it would make it hard. Also, the orange is the reason why the red doesn't turn into a solid rock, is because that's what the orange does. I don't want them to overlap too much. The green paint is like usually comes out in like a long like tube like shape into like, I guess best way, the way I described it in my writing it down was vine-like, but it's still paint and not solid yet. But when she retouches it, it turns into a soft like vine like stiffness. She usually uses this one probably to grapple around or to wrap opponents up and tie them up for a little bit. It is as strong as probably like a thick vine, so it's like strong but could probably easily be broken out of if the opponent is strong enough, but it does hold them back for a little bit. But if she touches a piece of paint and it's connected to more paint, it will all turn into the solid form. Blue is next. Blue comes out watery than the others, like water. It is also kind of like the red, but in reverse, it is also colder than all the other paints. Same thing go from the red. It is as cold as it can be pretty much without actually hurting the person. So it's again kind of just uncomfortable and gets them all chilly. And then when she retouches it, it turns into ice-like paint. Which the main thing she would use this for is travel of Frozen style, but like splatting it down, stepping on it, because even if she touches it with her feet, you can also do the hardening effect. And she probably just splats it around, steps on it, and like glides across it like she's skating. Is basically the main reason I wanted to make it ice-like, is because I wanted her to skate across the ground if she's not somehow up in the air. And next color is purple, which comes out as like, the best way to describe it is almost like gas or smoke-like paint. Like it floats, like it is a blob of paint. But if she retouches it, it turns into like cloud-like, but like a thick cloud, kind of like a goo almost, but not sticky. A cloud that's thicker but not sticky, but kind of like goo, is what it turns into. She can use this paint to probably throw it up in the air because it does float semi. Like wherever she puts it, it will stay pretty much, or float a little bit. So she could use it to technically run in the air. That's why if she gets away from it, it just turns back into paint, because it won't actually hurt anyone when it falls. Hopefully not. But yeah, so it's like almost cloud-like, but it's more goo-like cloud. So yeah, they all have their certain abilities. And then pink/white, I couldn't decide. Whatever this one is just normal paint. See, the tattoos on her body are white, or the markings on her body are white, which makes me want to make her normal paint white. Also, I'm sad I haven't used pink, so I'm debating what one to use of those two for the normal paint color, or maybe just both. But just comes out like normal paint. And if she retouches it, it dries like normal paint looks like when it's dry, which is like that slightly squishy, crusty stuff. which is kind of gross. But yes, so they all have their different abilities. She can use them in multiple ways. This, I can't tell if this is a super overpowered quirk or if I gave it enough of a debuff. I don't know. I just really thought it was a fun idea to keep originally I was gonna do her powers to paint stuff. Like one of my main ideas was to paint something and make it come to life, but I thought that was way too overpowered, and I think somebody already has a character that does that, but with like drawing. And my other thought was this being able to make paint into like platforms and little projectiles and stuff, which this basically is. It's just each paint has a slightly different consistency to it when it's the liquid form and when it's the solid form. All of them are still paint when they're the liquid form, just some are slightly thicker than others and some are slightly thinner than others, and all their solid forms are basically just a little bit are stronger than normal solid paint, but they are still just solid paint. That is what my idea for a quirk is at the moment, and I think it's a fun idea and it'd be fun to work with. I did show the little drawings, I think, of each color in each outline, and then in the future, if she does do the quirk awakening thing I was talking about, where she's able to use 2 at a time, one half of her body would turn one color, the other half would turn the other color. Still noticeable if you know what's going on. Now we'll get onto her design itself, which I have made 3 different outfits for. I'm gonna first talk about her design, like her base and stuff in general, and then I'll get onto the outfits and stuff. So I think if you saw at the start of the sketch, you can see the underneath of her body. Her body is covered in white paint-like splotches all down the sides of her arms and the sides of her legs, and then to the tips of her feet, and on her palm of her hand, and dripping down the front of her face and on her ears and stuff. You can see it all there. Her eyes are definitely based on kind of like Uraraka and Deku's eye shape, like how big they are, but they do have the drooped corners to make them look more shy. The eye itself, I looked at a bunch of My Hero character eyes and realized you could probably literally do anything. I decided to do a black eye, that sounds like she got punched in the face. A dark black colored iris, because I kind of wanted to do something that wasn't super colorful since she is basically a colorful hero. And then the pupil is like looks like a paint blob type of shape, and it's white. I have not decided if this also changes color depending on what paint she uses. It might not. I haven't fully decided yet, but right now it's white and I think it looks cool. I'm kind of leaning towards it does because I feel like that would look cool. Her hair is normal hair, like it's normal hair, but it is in like big clumps that look like paint. That is the fun little thing with her. Her hair looks like paint, but it is just normal hair, but it's supposed to look like big clumps of paint. I was struggling with her hair, what I wanted to do, because I tried, as you can tell by this art style, I tried to do kind of the art style of My Hero to the best of my ability. That's why the shading is different than my normal shading, because My Hero shading is different than I'm used to. I usually just shade like one side of something, or they don't put shading where I would usually put shading. And they don't usually use lighting pretty much at all in the anime style. I'm focused on the anime style for this, by the way, not the manga style. I tried to make it in the kind of My Hero style. I think it came across pretty good, and I do like how it came out. Especially the eyes. I do think the eyes definitely give My Hero. I gave her freckles because I couldn't help myself, and I love freckles. And also, Deku has freckles, which means I can give my characters freckles. Her ears are pointy because I felt like the pointy ears just fit the vibe with the tail. And also, again, my favorite character, Sun Eater, has pointy ears, so that definitely brought into why I gave her pointy ears. Her mouth is because when I was watching the videos like I was talking about earlier, they were talking about how they people always make just the pretty basic girl, and there's so many fun things you can do with My Hero designs that they're like, people should, I'm not saying that those designs are bad, but you can go for anything, go out there more. So I decided to make her a little bit more unique by giving her a really long mouth, kind of like Froppy's. So it is longer, and then her mouth does have the little indents where I wanted to describe a dragon mouth. I did decide this might make her teeth slightly more round, like having the exact same shape of her mouth as her teeth, which probably has something to do with the fact that she can literally spit paint from her mouth. That sounds so bad. She can literally use her quirk from her mouth, so that's probably why her teeth are like that. There's probably a certain reason why. I feel like I did the inside of her mouth was either paler or white, but I don't remember. I can decide right now. Here's a drawing of whatever I think it is. Her tail is supposed to look like a paintbrush, like I mentioned earlier. It literally just has the paintbrush end, but it's the same kind of probably texture as normal hair. Like I said earlier, I just like drawing it in big clumps. Her body type was based probably the most on Jiro from the My Hero universe, and then her outfit itself for her UA uniform is based mostly on Uraraka. With the tights underneath. Her civilian design, I decided I like wearing, I'm honestly wearing one right now. That is hilarious. I did not plan on that. I like wearing those kind of cheap My Hero hoodies, so it's kind of fun to wear those to me. So I decided to make her somebody who likes to wear hero merch, and I decided to pick two of my favorite pro heroes, probably my favorite two pro heroes, which is Eraserhead or Aizawa for the shirt underneath, and Fat Gum for the sweatshirt on top. Fat Gum is one of my favorites because he works with my two favorite My Hero characters of Sun Eater and Kirishima. Kirishima's my second favorite, by the way. And I thought the Fat Gum sweatshirt would be a fun design choice because I also like yellow a lot, and I thought it all fit well. And Aizawa, I decided to make my own idea for a merchandise for him, which is a long sleeve black shirt with a turtleneck-like thing, but it is like the gray with 3 layers to look kind of like his scarf, and then his goggles are just like on the front as a picture, just the front of the goggles, which I feel like would be a really cool merch to have in general of him. And I decided to make my own for his because I thought it'd be cool, and I thought of the turtleneck idea with the gray instead, and I'm like, that fits really well. Besides that, she is just wearing a simple pink skirt. You will notice that usually I draw like the back of the skirts like underneath behind, but my hero usually doesn't draw that from what I saw, so I didn't. And then she has leg warmers, which I think I just did for fun. I can't remember if there was a main reason behind it. And her shoes definitely look like Mary Jane's. And then her hero costume, which probably is the slightly most to explain. So I decided to go for a kind of, it gives a slight ninja aesthetic. Her big turtleneck is to cover up some of her face to help so her opponent cannot see what paint she's using as easily. It's also supposed to look like a top of a thick like rectangle paintbrush, and then the bottom of it is supposed to look like the shirt itself, like the shirt part, the pink shirt part, crap part, is supposed to look kind of like the handle, like the bottom handle part or the top handle part of a paintbrush, and her body is the handle of the paintbrush. You can see the same type of thing in her sleeves and her shorts. If you look at them, you can see that they have the shape of a paintbrush. They come from the top corner to go down and look like a paintbrush, and her arms are arms and legs are like the handles of the paintbrushes, which I thought would be fun motif to go around. She's just covered in paintbrushes. You can also see her hair is tied into a tiny ponytail with the end coming out to, again, look like a paintbrush. You can see on her back is a bow, which is supposed to look, if you looked at it from the back, it would be a bow, but it also looks kind of like 2 paintbrushes are crossing to each other. I added the bow for more fun. It's a last minute added decision. I don't know if she fully had the bow the whole time or not, but I think it's a fun little added thing to her design. And then her belt is because I wanted something on the main part body, and I thought it'd be good for her to hold some stuff with her. The things on her belt are actually just full of water. They're water bottles that she holds around her belt so she can always have access to water. So that's why she has the belt. It is a rainbow gradient because I have not decided one little part of her power. I might do that she has to touch the color. Unless you think it's good already, but if you think it's too overpowered, then I might do she has to touch the color before she can use it. So that's why she would have the rainbow belt. But if she doesn't have to, then it's just for aesthetic purposes. You can see on her hand, there is a heart shape cut out. It's because I wanted to give her from Girl Scouts, but I also realized her power comes from her hand, so she needs a way to. So she has a heart shape hole in it. Her hand shape, I was originally supposed to do the I love you sign that they do in sign language because I really like that. I learned sign language for a little bit in school, and then I kind of just never got back to it, but I think sign language is really cool. And that was one thing I do remember from sign language. So I wanted to do that, but I accidentally completely wrote it wrong. Drew it wrong, so now it looks just kind of like a ninja, like a hello kind of symbol. So I think it still fits and still works. She's barefoot and has her like hands mostly free because, again, she has to retouch the paint to make it hard, but she can use feet or her hands to do so, and maybe her tail. But her tail can also be used to flick the paint around. She also has the ahoge on the top of her head because I thought it'd be fun to add it to her design. And you can see in the melty design, it's drooped down. And you can also see on the top of all the paintbrush looking parts, there is the white paint part because I thought the paint motif was fun. I do really like actually how her superhero outfit came out. I didn't know what I was fully doing color-wise when I went into it. I just knew kind of design-wise, and I knew I wanted pink in there. So yeah, that's pretty much her design. And her character, like I talked about earlier. I don't really have much else to say for right now. I do really like how her design came out. I think it's really cool. And I really enjoyed doing this, and I will definitely make more OCs like self-insert or whatever personas. But yeah, this was a really fun video to make designs for. I hope it didn't sound too weird, but I don't know, hope you like it. So yeah, I really like My Hero as a series. I think the concepts for My Hero are very fun, so I wanted to do one for myself. If you have any questions I didn't answer about her, feel free to ask them down below and I'll try my best to answer them. But yeah, thank you everyone who clicked on this video, especially those who watched it all the way through. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye bye.